Welcome to the Exposer. So for many of you guys who don't know, Spac Nation have a line group called the Third Generation. This is basically a bunch of young guys who have groomed from the age of 17, 16, and they're now at an age where they've grown into the grooming and are absolutely brainwashed. So there's a video I'm about to play, and this is one of Mariam's soldiers. This is a young man who joined Spac Nation, went university, was manipulated by Mariam into giving 1k every month. The young boy even says he wasn't working, so he was given basically all of his student finance. But he's still at Spac Nation now, and now he's the one raising money for Mariam. He's encouraged them to raise 15k in a month. Remember, Mariam spoke about lines and her leaders. So she will assign these boys to find a way to raise a target that she gives them. So the target given to this young man is 15k for his group to raise in the month. This is purely filth. This is disturbing. Watch the video. The video will reveal everything you need to see, and you can see how manipulated these young men are.
And anyway, actually, I'm gonna say it. But PM was PM. One thing that she always says, I never really understood it, but she's like, word isn't just like you quoting John or you quoting Mark or whatever. Word is actually, for me, is Psalm chapter 1 verse 2. And for like too long, I've been like, I've never shared that, but I wanna not even motivate. I wanna push the 3Gs, because the reason I titled this Road to the 15k Seed is because we post 3G, we're raising 15k. We're on a journey, and it's going to take consistency, and it's going to take extreme consummation of the word, or whatever, eating the word daily till PT began to say that he would eat the word till he began to feel pain, like he would eat it till he felt sick in his stomach. So guys, that's what we need to do. But the reason I said Psalm chapter 1 verse 2 is because the reason I'm so hungry for this 15k seed is because I know in the past I've wrestled bears and lions. Now this 15k seed is Goliath. Like, listen, you lot don't. But at uni, yeah. Listen, before I went to uni, first year in Southampton, me and PM were talking, and what she said to me, she was all saying, okay, cool. So what's gonna happen is you're gonna go uni. At times you'll be able to sew. At other times you won't. But when you're not, it's fine. You're at uni. That was the plan, yeah. Something clicked in Pastor Mariam. So when it was October, that whole of last year at uni, I never sold less than a bag a month. Like never. I don't know how. If you ask me, I don't know. But it never happened, and it was because she would begin to call me every morning at 8 a.m. talking about, just not even talking, feeding me the word, feeding me. That's how I know if you feed your sheep the word, they will produce. It's not up for debate. If you feed them the word and you sit on them. PM will call me 8 a.m. every morning, and she'll be saying, Sam, feeding me. I'm not gonna lie, at times, like, it was like, okay, man's at uni, innit? But she would continue to feed me. She would sit on me. I never sold less than a bag each month at uni. I wasn't working. It didn't make sense. Now, you lot don't, these savvy knows, but it's PM. There will be a time, yeah, imagine, yeah, these times we were sewing at the end of every month, so it wasn't weekly. Like, PM would call me on a Monday talking about, say, a jug to do. We do the jug and we get the money or the seed on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, she's still calling me about, like, we've reached a bag already, and yet that same week, she's still telling me how we pushing for more. I didn't get it at the time. I really didn't, but it was all training for this weekly sewing that we're doing now. It was all training. She pushed, and she fed. Guys, don't push your people if you haven't fed them. Don't push your people if you haven't fed them, because you know what it is? You know what I clocked about the word, yeah? The word, man's a bloodbath, fam, for real. But you know what I clocked about the word is, as you speak the word to your sheep, the word has an ability to just win their hearts. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, if any other leader asked me to do what some of the stuff PM has asked me to do and called me as much as PM and sat on me, gave me as many instructions as PM, I don't think I would have done it. I'm not going to lie, but because she fed me the word, she's the one that fed me the word. It had a power to just win my heart, so much so that whatever she says is done. And it's the word that does that. I want you line leaders to know that if you're feeding your sheep the word, don't get tired. Don't look like, oh, why is it not working? If you saw me before, listen, if you saw me before I came back, you would not think I would ever sow more than £10 in church. You know the offering, but never. But you see the power of the word. It has the ability to win your soul's heart, so much so that sometimes it's not even that I'm sowing out of a Christian, like, as a obligation to God or whatever, but it's actually, no, this person who has fed me, who has raised me in this word, I'm going to give my all to this person, no matter what it takes, no matter what risks I have to take. I'm going to give and make sure that whatever this person asks for gets done. So that's just for the line leaders. Just make sure you do not relent in feeding your sheep the word. That is the only way we are going to hit this 15K target. Feed. And as you're feeding them, make sure you're eating. Otherwise, you'll fall flat. I remember, which word is it? I think it's arise and eat, for this journey is long. But it began to say how the PT began to say how the children of Israel, when God produced, was it manna, or God produced bread for them, they would eat and then they would try and save some for tomorrow. That's why they only got into the wilderness. They couldn't get all the way into the promised land, because they kept trying to save. They kept trying to say, let me think about my tomorrow. Let me not eat as much as God has provided me. Listen, right now, God is giving us food on the next level. Word has been coming hard. If you're at Eastside yesterday, you know that word was a madness. And listen, if you know you haven't gone back to chew it, I beg of you, like, for real, why not? That word was a madness. Even PO, he was saying, are these guys really getting it? PO is nuts. He's a madman. This guy's sacrifice, when PM begins to talk about PO's sacrifices, my heart jumps. I'm like, how can a man, I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say that on here, but she will begin to talk about the risk this man has taken. What was I say? Lucid. No, I'm joking. She'll begin to talk about the risk this man has taken just to sow everything. Like, he would have bailiffs at his door, at his parents' crib. They would have knocking, saying, we need peas. Like, we think we've seen peas. No, like, peas, saying we need it, get it now. And he can either sow it or he can do what he has promised to do. The guy, he would, let me even talk too much, but he would take risks to the he would take risks to the point that he knows that this seed, what is buying for me, it's not PO. PO doesn't care about his house. He doesn't care how big it is or whatever, but he knows that this seed buys him word. He knows that this level of word is only achieved through that level of a mad seed. I'm talking let me not. Anyway, chat. No, I'm gonna not trust a reckless giver. But now, this scope, it was mainly for the post 3G line leaders. Look, our target for the coming weeks is going to be 15K. I know, like, the lines we've halved, or we're giving less than we did last week. That's for them. Us, post 3G, our target, we're on track for 15K. Like, don't relent, don't get tired, don't drop your sword. I beg of you, don't drop your sword. We are on a journey to 15K, and the reason I say I know we can hit it, and it's not. We might look at it as hit it like, oh yeah, post 3G, we're gonna do a madness, but no, it's the souls that we're gonna win from this thing. Listen, I was telling Pastor Alex, I will crash anyone, and it's not because like, let me see if I can raise them up. No, because I've seen what crashing does for some souls. I've seen if PM hadn't crashed me at uni, one of my souls who is very dear to my heart, this guy he might be dead right now, to be honest. Listen, if you crash people, like, I don't know if I crash people, Sha. Like, we're doing this all for souls. Don't let the devil trick you into thinking that you're raising seeds so you can get a thumbs up from PM or PO or any. No, we're doing this all for souls. 10,000 people are coming. They're coming, and they're coming fast. We're doing this all for them so they can enter. And it's also our look. If you guys don't have what's that? Can you get Psalms 42 for me, please? Because this, I said, crash me, Lord, man. For real. But, yeah, Psalm 42, please. Yeah, NIV. But, guys, this work is all for soul. Like, Listen, we're not doing. Please don't let the devil trick you into thinking that you're doing this just so you can look nice in a group chat, bro. Allow it. You know what it is? You'll get tired. Like when people start moving on to new unit, you'll get tired. Remember, every single thing we're doing is for sheep. It's for souls. It's to bring new people in. And I know at Eastside at least there are people who we cry for sheep. You know, like it doesn't make sense, but we cry for sheep. There's a burden on our hearts to see East London change, but to see new people come. But yeah, pause it. Thank you. I'm just gonna read Psalm 42 quickly, then I'm gonna scoot it up. But as the deer pants for streams of water, so my soul pants for you, my God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. When can I go and meet with him? My tears have been my food day and night. That verse 3, my tears have been my food day and night. There was a time recently, me and my line, we were fasting, and our fast was mainly focused on, I personally wanted to find out what is the secret Jesus knew that enabled a man to fast for 40 days. If Jesus actually fasted for 40 days, there must have been something he was doing. And this scripture, to me, it just says that his tears for the generation he knew were in his loins, his tears for the people, the disciples he knew he would carry, that is what fed him, that's what kept him going. So in this season of sowing a madness on our road to 15k, if you're feeling anyhow, if you're feeling tired or whatever, it's your tears for your people. Know that you're doing this all for people.
So you just saw what he said in that video. He would give her 1k, and a few days later she will call him again to ask for more, and ask him if he has raised any more money. He mentioned she called him every single day at 8 o'clock. And this kid started the video by saying she never pressured him and just told him, just give when you can. But then he contradicts himself when he mentioned that she called him every single day, asking him about seeds. This is a kid that's brainwashed, and I don't blame him, because he has been groomed from a young age. He also used the example of Mariam telling him about another pastor who basically had so much debts that there was bailiffs coming to his house, but that did not stop him from giving money to Spac Nation. So in a way, this kid sees it as a motivation to give because he's not in those circumstances. This is what they do to these young men. They brainwash them from a very young age. Some of these guys at the age of 15, 16 move into the house with them, so they train these kids to think like them. Then when these kids go on to university, they already know these kids will give everything because they have been programmed to give everything they have. And when they step out of education, they now become like a company that raises money, almost like a charity that stops people on the streets and gets them to sign on to pay Spac Nation monthly fees. But with Spac it's different, because Spac Nation encourages these kids to raise every single week a minimum of 1k, 2k sometimes, even more other times. And this is something that's very serious. People need to continue to share and post everything that they're seeing about Spac Nation, because right now Spac Nation are afraid. They never anticipated this happening to them, and now all the evidence is there on a video. This is their own members speaking out in videos admitting that they are giving 1k every week to the church. Police have to investigate to see where that money is going, because there's ridiculous amount of seed, the word that they use, that is being raised on a weekly basis. And this is just one pastor that they're raising this for. So can you imagine all the pastors at Spac Nation, and there's supposed to be over 200 members who are telling young kids to raise a certain amount of money. This is serious, because they are ruining the young generation. They are ruining our community. People think they house these kids to help them. They house these kids to extort them. That's the difference. Because these kids become like robots to them. They train them to become how they want them to become, and brag about it by saying they house people and take people off the streets. This kid does not look like he needs help of Spac Nation. This kid could have been independent. He's gone to university. He can get a job. But Spac Nation make them feel like they need them. This is why they target these young, vulnerable kids, because these kids now believe they owe everything to Spac Nation.